All right, looks like we are live. And if you're here with me live, hit me with a live and where you're coming from. And if you're on a replay, hit me with hashtag replay. That way I know that this message is reaching the people it's meant to, right? And today we're talking about love or money, and I'm going to spill my guts. I am going to share with you exactly why I am so passionate about this part of my work in Programmed for Prosperity and about getting our hearts right so that we can have a life of, everything we've always desired and wanted versus limitation. And it is very personal to me and my story. So I'm Melanie McCool. I'm the entrepreneur's hypnotherapist and peak performance coach. I'm also a certified master trainer of hypnosis and founder of Program for Prosperity. In Program for Prosperity, we work to essentially fix the limiting beliefs, the programs that are running at the subconscious level that are limiting your experience of life. And today we're going to talk about your experience of love, of eros, of romance, of having a glorious partner, somebody that you can laugh, have fun with, and really enjoy each other intimately, physically, and, intimate conversation, all of the above, right? To have that and have a really powerful, successful career that you can move in the world and have those both parts of your life simultaneously. And what I know is from my own experience, because I had done a world of personal development. I mean, since I was actually probably about 13 years old, because my background, my childhood was one of a lot of trauma. If you know anything about ACE scores, do you know anything about ACE scores? Adverse childhood experiences? Question mark. If you do, then I'll tell you I had a 10. And you don't want a perfect 10. You want a 0 for yourself, for your kids, trust me. And I had a 10. So I actually started with personal development when I was from my first journal, I can remember being about 11. And then I dove in, really after about age 13. I had this brilliant teacher. Sometimes just the most beautiful mentors step into your life. It's like a life-saving moment. And she essentially let me know that the part of me that knew that life could be better was right. She helped me to see that and then to dive into how my life, my mental health, my experience of life could be better than what I'd experienced in my own family. Anyway, so I had personal development from a very, very young age, out of necessity, out of survival, in fact. And so I had been doing personal development all this time. And in my 20s, I became an entrepreneur. I actually started a home-based business so that I could raise my then daughter. She was in my belly. And I knew I wanted to be a work-at-home mom. I wanted to give my children the love, the nourishment, the connection that I didn't necessarily have. And so I decided I'd be a work-at-home mom. And so I went into business. And I often say I had no business being in business because I really had no background whatsoever, but I did have a huge why, right? I want to be a parent to these kids. And so I dove into that for the sake of being a loving parent. And I engaged in personal development from the very beginning. You must. If you're, a high achieving entrepreneurial woman, you know that you've done a lifetime likely of personal development, right? And so things like, making an assessment of the way things are going in your world, because you have to have an awareness before you can change, right? Were commonplace. And so I would do a wheel of life, assessment virtually every year, sometimes more often. And and just let me know, are you familiar with the wheel of life? Have you used them? Is it something that you use? And I would see this wheel of life and just like you, I had some areas that were just awesome. I had actually dialed in health and wellness from a very early age. Like this was something yeah, those habits in sync, they're never going anywhere, right? And there were other areas that were just robust, fantastic. And then there was always this like flat tire. And the flat tire in this case was my relationship, love, romance, however it was categorized on that wheel. It was always this flat tire. And I'm just going to take a little breather here because what I realized and recognized as I became a hypnotherapist is if you've got that wheel of life and you've got those flat tires, all that means is that somewhere in your subconscious programming, there is something awry. There's something off. Everything else is just going fine. I alluded to that. Health and wellness, the habits of action towards health and wellness, dialed in, no problemo, right? Relationships, love, not so good. And I'm not even going to go into why. I mean, you and I could have a conversation, I bet, all day about why your programming and my programming around love might have been wacky, right? It's not even remotely interesting or relevant, though. This is where we're going to get to today, is to know that the habits, the subconscious programming and the habits that resulted from that are not relevant to the woman you are today. But I'm just going to fast forward a little bit because going and doing those wheels of life over and over again. I mean, seriously, it's 22 years of entrepreneurship, right? All together now. The flat tire. And I would just see it and go, yep, I know. Meanwhile, I am personally developing myself like crazy, right? How can I have more happiness, health, wealth in all areas of my life, knowing that this little part's going to kind of be like that. That was the way it was for so long. And I grew and I grew and I grew. And here's where that kind of thing went wrong for me. And I see it go wrong for many, many women, is that there became a massive imbalance in that I would work. I would actually work longer, harder than I needed to, partially because it gave me what we call the secondary gain, right? Of staying away from what I didn't want to look at. So I'm going to say, and I'm going to pause for a moment. I'm just going to ask you a very serious question. Are any of you aware that you're a quote unquote workaholic, period? Are you a workaholic? And if I asked you, what are you avoiding by being a workaholic? Do you have an answer for me? And if my story rings true for you, whoa, please let me know. Because what happened was I dove into being a top 1%er, a top earner. And partially because I got so much satisfaction and there was a certainty in that, certainty that I couldn't get in my relationship. Okay. So since love, eros, romance, my partner, was not a place of, nourishment, and there was no certainty there, nothing, nor satisfaction, right? I went to work. Can anybody relate? You can let me know personally if you're not open to just saying straight here, here. And that went on for years until I decided it was no longer going to go on. Okay. Now, I'm going to talk a bit about what the reasons for women choosing love or money can be, besides my own. And did I choose love or money? No, I just wasn't choosing love properly. I didn't choose money over love. I was in a relationship with the father of my kids, right? And that I thought was the way to go. um, but I did absolutely sacrifice that part of me, my happiness, wellness, my woman's heart that deserved that experience. I sacrificed that for years and years. And I would turn to work as a way really of not looking at the problem. And so many women, they do that. First of all, they may find they're a workaholic because they're not really happy or satisfied with the relationship. There you go. That's one clear thing going on. Or maybe there is no relationship. And again, satisfaction, certainty can come from work. And that pain of not having a relationship, whether you're in a bad one or don't have one at all, it feels very much, like a longing and a something that if you had that, life would be a hell of a lot sweeter, right? There's that feelings there, whether it's a bad relationship you're in or none. And so I see many women who have gotten really far in life in terms of being successful in business, and they'll just say things like, I just don't have time for that, or I can't be bothered with that, or this or that. But when we dive in, that's where things get really interesting. And I'm going to point out just a few of the things that I often see with my clients, and I saw myself. And if any of these ring true for you, I encourage you to reach out to me so we can have this conversation, because you deserve to have a freaking full tire in this life. You deserve to have all your desires of your heart, your longing met. And if it's not, it's simply because there's some limiting beliefs and subconscious programming in there that's screwing it up. All right. I promise you that. So let's think about the high achieving women that I work with that I've heard these things from. Don't have time for that. Or they've just had repeated relationship trauma, right? Being with the wrong type of person, toxic relationships, even all of that very much from, a warped idea of what good, healthy love looks like, right? Or they were maybe taught things like, and depending on the culture, and I've worked with people all over the world, and I see these same themes just kind of ripple. I see them over and over again, same patterns rather. There's many women who were essentially taught that they could either be a good wife and mother, or work, period, let alone work, be an entrepreneur, be a business owner. So either a good wife or mother or business. And so if they chose business, well, then essentially part of them's just shutting down and going, I can't have that. That's not for me. That's what they were taught. Or there's very much a fear for women. So that if you earn if you are a top earner, then you won't find a man because somehow you're playing a role that's supposed to be the masculine. Woo, breathe. Limiting beliefs. I'm not even going to fix these right now, but I promise you we can fix them. And this is a huge one. I don't want to have to take care of a man. So don't want to make too much money, because then you'll be the one that's taking care of somebody, which basically means you don't want somebody to be a parasite on you. So where's that come from? Then there's just other, ways that flat tires can be created about love. And that has everything to do with perhaps, seeing a unhealthy relationship when you were small or not at all, divorced parents, or perhaps your mother had, literally a disdain for for men, or she saw herself only as, able to be lovable if she, looked and played the part or something. There's so many limits that are on us if we allow them to remain. This actually breaks my heart because I can imagine those of you who are watching that these play out, and they play out for women all over the world over and over again. And I'm here to tell you the reason I'm showing up here today is that does not have to be permanent for you in your life. Now, I will admit that change is hard. Change is easier with a hypnotherapist, I promise. And changing from thinking that your lot in life is this, whatever this old way of being is, to claiming that you deserve everything your heart desires and going towards and for it is one of the most powerful, courageous things that we can do. But it also means unlearning a lot of bull that you may have about yourself as a woman, your place in the world as it relates to love and money. For me, there was a world of unraveling that had to take place. But I did. I did. And that is why I'm showing up here today. I want to tell you this. That flat tire, it can very easily be fixed, and it is with a tweak of the subconscious programming. The limiting beliefs that are running the show are giving you what you see in your life, right? The habits that were created from those limiting beliefs, those habits were formed in far different circumstances than exist right now. I'm giving you a little bottle of hope, okay? And habits are just that. They're not even remotely interesting or relevant to who you are today, right? So we can break those. We can break those habits of thought and action and inaction, for that matter, and change your life completely. Because unless you are still in that childhood home with all of the programming being installed daily, we can do something about it. And I'll even say, if you're in a place where it's time to get really brave and recognize where you've been shortchanging yourself and your life as a woman, I can hold space for that. And you can move into a different experience. Now, I'm even going to say that if you're in a relationship and it's less than satisfying and you want to use the methods I'm going to give you and tell you about in a moment, you can do that. You can give it a major overhaul if you want, if it's possible. Sometimes, we didn't know better than to not choose somebody that was absolutely damaging when we were young. And we need to make really different choices now. That may not be fixable. I mean, I told you I worked on myself extensively all my life. And I thought somehow that if I got better, that could get better. Without going into details, it turned out it was impossible for anything to ever get better. And that's okay. I saved myself and my life and move forward. Move forward. All right. So that's where we are. So even if your relationship's less than satisfactory, but you believe it's worth saving, then you can use what I'm about to talk to you about. And if you don't have love, if you've had perhaps many experiences of really crappy relationships and you've given up, or you're still trying, but you're getting the same patterns over and over again, or if you just gave up some time ago and you're ready to make a different choice right now, you're the woman I'm talking to. You're the one that is going to benefit from what I have to talk to you about right now. And I'm just going to outline this really quickly so that you can choose to speak to me about our work together. And know that I am here to help you to radically change your life. I will not leave you the same. I'm Melanie McCool, the entrepreneur's hypnotherapist, peak performance coach, and I'm going to show you how I fixed my own damn flat tire and how we use the word manifest. I manifested a love, that is so incredibly nourishing that I didn't even know was possible. Okay. And so I'm going to, for women who choose to lean in and say yes to this, I'm going to show you how I fixed my flat tire and manifested that love. And I'm going to do that for the women who are in my Program for Prosperity container. So Program for Prosperity is my signature work. It is where I teach you self-hypnosis. And since we've been using the term to fix your flat tires in whatever area of your life need fixing, but it is to change the level of subconscious thought. And self-hypnosis, I don't know if you're completely aware of what it is, but it's worth understanding that it is a technique and a process that I train on because I'm a certified master trainer. It's not just listening to recordings. Okay. Got it. Cool. And in Program for Prosperity, I teach you how to take your life from wherever you are right now to being, far different than you ever imagined, because you've changed at the level of programming. And that changes how you feel, and that changes your action in life. And you can essentially take action towards what you've always wanted consciously without self-sabotage, without the self-sabotaging limiting beliefs that has screwed you over about love your whole life. And fast. Doesn't take years and years of inner child work to do this. We're fixing some thoughts and some habits, not, yeah. So what I'm going to do is for the women who are in my Program for Prosperity container, I'm going to be doing Aligned with Love. Okay. So it's a 3-part manifesting journey with me. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I did. From June, it started to be implemented. And by September, boom, unlike anything I'd ever thought was possible. If you'd like that, then I'm going to encourage you to reach out to me. You can drop the word align below this video, and I'll make sure that we get on a call and we can talk about what's going on for you and what the desires of your heart are, so that I can be really clear and help to hold that space for you. And we'll discuss whether it's something that you're going to do self-guided or working with me one-to-one or in my group accelerators. And, that's going to be something that you'll decide after we connect about your heart. My darling, it's never been either or. It's always and. And I'm going to show you the and. All right. So with that, I'm going to say much love. So much love. Have a beautiful day. You deserve it. And drop aligned or jump right in my DMs if you want to talk about how you can be aligned with love. All right.